we had a game plan, and a lot of times when he says certain things on social media, I say, he's to me, he's still a kid, and when I was that age, I probably would have did the same thing. I didn't have a Floyd Mayweather to stand behind me and tell me, about what's right and what's wrong.
Like what he did in the sport, I ain't gonna lie, I'd be the same way. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I don't follow him for stand to himself and things like that. You know what I mean? But it's also a part of me type thing, like come back and help too. You know what I mean? So it's much love to the whole Mayweather promotion. You know what I mean? Ain't no bad blood type shit. And a lot of people think when I be tweeting on Instagram.
We do know.
Look over there and left.
We had a game plan. And a lot of times when he says certain things on social media, I say, he's to me, he's still a kid. And when I was that age, I probably would have did the same thing. I didn't have a Floyd Mayweather to stand behind me and tell me, about what's right and what's wrong. Like what he did in the sport, I ain't going to lie, I'll be the same way. You know what I mean? So I don't fault him for staring to himself and things like that, you know what I mean? But it's also a part of me type thing like come back and help too. You know what I mean? So it's much love to the whole Mayweather promotion, man. No bad blood type of, __. And a lot of people think when I be tweeting on We Do Know it has come as one of the most shocking moments in boxing that no one saw coming as Floyd Mayweather and Gervonta Davis finally ended their beef ahead of Tank's rematch with Lamont Rematch. The draw to Lamont Rematch has really humbled Gervonta Davis and this forced a reunion between him and Floyd Mayweather after the dirty fight they had last year. And just like he visited Stevenson in training camp before his February fight, Floyd Mayweather also visited Gervonta Davis ahead of his next fight. I appreciate him. I appreciate him for what he done cause he did he did help me out. He definitely helped me out, but it was more so like Vince out on social media. He's been through a lot, throughout his life. So, but I take my hat off to him. I'm proud of him. The pair met and discussed for a while. Then Floyd watched him train and spar other fighters before leaving the gym. As he stood by, a reporter questioned him on what he thought about the first fight between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Rematch, especially with Tank taking a knee. We know what the law says, and we know Tank was lucky on that night, but it's been done. Tank is a hell of a fighter, and he's going to prove himself in the rematch. Like what he did in the short, I ain't going to lie, I'll be the same way. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I don't fault him for staring to himself and things like that. You know what I mean? But it's also a part of me type thing like come back and help too. You know what I mean? So it's much love to the whole Mayweather promotion. Ain't no bad blood type, __. And a lot of people think when I be tweeting on this is one more thing that seems like a big coincidence in their reunion, and it's the fact that Gervonta Davis keeps following Mayweather's footsteps. He was called the next Floyd Mayweather in the early days of his career. And little wonder why he and Floyd Mayweather had a very similar knee issue in their fights. As well as not being tested on the scorecards, fighters have struggled to inflict serious damage to Mayweather as the fighter has only been knocked down once in his professional career. However, the knockdown did not come as a result of a threatening punch. Wait a second. And it's called the knockdown. And is something wrong with the left hand? In May of 2001, Mayweather would take on Carlos Hernandez February 1, 33 in an attempt to defend his World Boxing Council super featherweight title. Money would be aiming to make his 8th defense of the title. However, he would have an odd moment in the bout. He was still a promising fighter with 25 when he faced El Salvador's Carlos Alfamoso Hernandez for the lineal and World Boxing Council super featherweight crown. Despite leading the fight, Mayweather would receive an 8 count in the 6th round of the fight. However, Hernandez did not put the fighter down. Mayweather took a knee in the 6th round of the bout despite not having suffered any significant damage from his opponent. Oh, Floyd Mayweather. We're not exactly sure why. Just a pain from his hand. Wow. Now, Floyd let the left hand go. However, Mayweather was seemingly hurting. After taking the knee, Mayweather began to gesture to his corner as if something was wrong with his left hand. Despite the supposed injury, Mayweather was able to continue and win the bout. Despite the knockdown being scored in favor of Hernandez, Mayweather would still win convincingly on the judges' scorecards. Immediately, he was deducted a point, but it didn't matter to the champion, and he accelerated to take the unanimous decision at the Vanandel Arena in Michigan. Mayweather-Hernandez fight. You guys should watch that fight, some of you. He kneels down because something hurts his hand. He points out the fall and it does not come from a blow, recalled Terence Crawford, one of the great stars of world boxing. Will he be a one-armed bandit though tonight? Hold on to his title. Instead, he seems absolutely perplexed. The big right hand landing now by Mayweather. The winner by unanimous decision. And still, just when Gervonta Davis talked about Mayweather wanting him to lose, he goes ahead and draws for the first time a story Mayweather can't relate with in any way. But it's looking like Mayweather is having the last laugh after Gervonta Davis had his major fall off. And while he looks to bounce back, it's general knowledge that this is such a huge debt to his boxing image. First of all, Floyd don't never want to see no one like a fighter do better than them. Transk's latest interviews with Jay Hill, he made some shocking revelations. Well, one of the most controversial ones was on Floyd Mayweather where he revealed the truth behind some crazy happenings between him and Floyd Mayweather. He claimed Mayweather has always wanted a loss for him. Sadly, Mayweather came close to having his wish for Gervonta Davis fulfilled. Of course, Floyd didn't keep quiet and he was set to distract Gervonta Davis from his world title fight one more time before they reunited. Well, my thing is I've always been there for him from day one. We had a game plan and my game plan was to help him become world champion and take things to that next level. First of all, Floyd don't never want to see no one like a fighter do better than them. Say trans your fight. Going to be there. They don't make no he don't never want to see nobody be better than him. I'm telling you, you know what? Is there like question like fighter? Yeah, I love a fighter. Like I ain't going to lie. But here's what really happened. Boxing star Gervonta "Tank" Davis was once a protege of boxing legend Floyd Mayweather. But the two no longer speak. They had a very public fallout which Davis moved on from and became a better fighter from and an even bigger star both in America and worldwide. Speaking of Mr. Jill podcast, Davis opened up on what happened with Mayweather. I was in a lose-lose situation. Now, what came out still on top with Floyd? You said it was a lose-lose-lose situation. What you mean? Just it was situation that he put me into, you know, make me lose, but he thought I was. You talking about like a boxing match or yeah, boxing match? If you don't mind. If you don't want to, Joseph Podza, my first world title, I was 16-0. I was 21 at the time and I haven't fought in like 7 or 8 months. And around that time, first of all, Floyd don't never want to see no one like a fighter do better than them. How the state transcoder. Yeah, I love a fighter. Like I ain't going to lie. Once you get around someone you look up to like Mayweather, you realize they're not who they portray themselves to be. It's a letdown and it hurts. I just go my own way and do my own thing. With Floyd, there were situations where he put me in lose-lose scenarios, like my first world title fight against Jose Podza. I was 16-0, 21 years old, hadn't fought in 7 or 8 months, and wasn't making much money, maybe $10,000 a fight. They came back and told me I've got to fight him, that if I didn't fight him, I'd be shelved. I got evicted and had to sell my car. For sure. Floyd did that intentionally. I was letting other boxers know what was happening, giving them games so they wouldn't end up there. Now, when they say they want to fight me, it feels like betrayal. What else you want to talk about? We got no, real quick. Actually, I just wanted to say I saw, Gervonta Davis was in here for a minute. I don't know if he's still in here. I know he has his big tank on here. Yeah. Tank. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know if he's still on here. I don't know. He might have bounced. I don't know. He might have bounced. He might have bounced. He was only off for a second. Tank, you want to come in? Tank, can I bring you in? I'd love to bring you in. Only because I know for like the longest Tank has had an issue. He added, I respect and appreciate him for what he did, but it was more like he gave me crumbs, like $10K or $15,000 to help my mom out of the hood. That's not enough. She'd be back in the hood in months and I'd be asking for more. I learned people can put you in a position where you always need them, feeding you just enough to keep you coming back. When I was signed to the same management as Floyd, they started taking over my career. Boxing legend Mayweather guided Tank during the majority of his career as Davis won world titles in multiple weight divisions and became widely regarded as one of the most exciting fighters in the sport. I wasn't making that much money. I probably was making like $10,000 a fight. So 6 months is crazy to not fight, you know. So when they came back and was like, all right, you got to fight. He was like, you got to fight this fighter, which is Joseph Podza. If you don't fight him, you're not fighting. You're like you sitting on the shelf. So I had to fight him. In the midst of all that happened, I got evicted. Had to sell my jewelry. So now, and remind you, I'm letting them boxes. The two then parted ways in 2022 and things